So we know that YHVH is the name of God. A Yod, a Hey, and a Vav, and a Hey in modern Hebrew, which is actually pronounced Yah-Vah. It's breath. Every time you breathe, you're speaking the name of God. And 10565 is what these letters equal. 10565, which is also what our DNA equals. And if you add it up, it's 26. In 26 AD is when Jesus was baptized and started his ministry. And when he was baptized, he was led out by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil for 40 days. But that's actually showing us 40 Jubilees from 26 AD all the way to 2026 AD. And that is where the Antichrist ministry will start. 2026, 2027, and 2028. 3 years of darkness, not 3 days of darkness now. God extrapolates years into days, days into 1,000 years. It's the whirlwind. It's how God works. Then, if you take the numbers 10565, which is the name of God, YHVH, Yahweh, you get, if you are fruitful and multiply, you get 1,500, which is the exact measurements cubed for New Jerusalem, the golden cube, in which, if you read about New Jerusalem, it's also talking about the believers. We are also part of that golden cube, as opposed to the black cube, which is symbolic for Satan and Saturn, and that is the cube that they walk around in circles in Mecca, the black cube. 2 different cubes there. Then if you go to 2026, that is the year of the horse. Interestingly enough, in the first seal, there is the rider on the white horse. Then if you go to 2029, it's the year of the Rooster, in which that is the year of the return of Jesus Christ. And we know that if we look back in time, that Jesus told Peter that the cock will crow 3 times, and you will deny me 3 times, symbolic of the 3 years of darkness that have just passed, 2026, 27, and 28. He said it would be thrice, which is 3 times. Then the moon cycle from the beginning is 29 to 30 days. God told us, left us that clue from the beginning in the moon cycle when he was coming back. 2029, 2030. Now going backwards for a second to the year 2024, which is the year of the dragon coming up right before 2025, which is the year of the serpent. How on point is the Chinese calendar? And if you take 2025 and multiply it, you have to be fruitful and multiply. 20 times 25, it's 500. 500 in the Strong's Concordance is Antichrist. The year of the serpent, if you multiply it, is Antichrist. That is going to be the year that the Antichrist will be revealed. That wicked will be revealed. Now 2024, this is the year of the dragon. You can read about him in the book of Revelation. And he draws 1/3 of the stars from heaven and is ready to devour the man-child. We are the man-child. Now, there was the body of Christ, which was Christ, one person. Now we are the body of Christ. Now the body of Christ is multiple people, in which if you look in the Strong's Concordance again under the number 500 in the Hebrew, not the Greek, it's God ascends. That is the body of Christ, the man-child. Because now Christ is in us, the hope of glory. Just like Christ ascended, now we ascend right at the same time. How perfect can these patterns be to show us everything? And the amazing thing about Number 500 in Hebrew, God ascends. That in Exodus chapter 40, notice the chapter number 40, symbolic of the end of the 40 Jubilees, the 2,000 years of the dispensation of grace. And the word Exodus means exit. And in chapter 40, you read that God's glory was on the temple, which is now the whole earth. And God's glory had to ascend. God had to ascend first so that Israel could move forward on their journey. Symbolic of us, the rapture first, then Jacob's trouble. If you look yourself, the number 2026, 2027, and 2028 in the Greek is to kill and slay, slaughter and slaughter, showing you the 3 years of darkness. But if you look in the Hebrew number in those years, in which 2026 will be 5786, it's blind. 5787, Hebrew, blind. 5789, 5788, and the Hebrew is blind. It's a blind slaughter, 3 years of darkness, coming in 2026, 27, and 28. 29 is the return of Jesus Christ. 2030, the Israelites will be ruling with Jesus Christ. Now, the whole backbone to this is the 6,000 year time period actually prophesied to us twice in the book of Genesis. And this is amazing because God declares the end from the beginning. So we look in the beginning, which that is what Genesis means. And in Genesis chapter 6, verse 3, God said, His spirit shall not always contend with man, for his years shall be 120. Well, I know that people lived past 120 years. After the flood, Abraham himself lived 175 years. This is talking about 120 jubilees. A jubilee is 50 years. 120 jubilees would be 6,000 years. From the fall of Adam, because remember God said his spirit shall not always contend with man. His spirit started contending with man at the fall. Adam fell and was cursed at 30 years old. 6,000 years from there be 2030. It's too perfect. Then we also see this in Genesis in the 6 days of creation. Because in 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8, a day is as 1,000 years with the Lord. 6 days of creation, symbolic of 6,000 years. And then the 7th day God rested. That's showing us the 1,000-year millennium reign of Jesus Christ. Now another amazing thing to show absolute proof that this 6,000-year period is correct is that if we take 6,000, which is symbolic of 6 days, right? A day is as 1,000 years with the Lord. And there are 24 hours a day. Well, in 6 days times 24 hours, there would be 144 hours. But if we say 6,000 years times 24 hours, it's 144,000. Right there from the beginning, God showed us the end, because at the end in Revelation chapter 7, 144,000 Israelites are sealed in their forehead with the seal of God. God declares the end from the beginning. And the word time in gematria is 144. As you can see on the screen here, the number 120 in the Strong's Concordance is Adam, which means man. That is showing us the Genesis 6:3 prophecy. 120 jubilees. God's spirit contending with man. If you flip 2029 around to 2920 in the Strong's Concordance, it's judgment, and even divine judgment. Strong's Concordance is prophetic. The words alien invasion in simple gematria equal 144 also, which makes me wonder if they're going to call the 144,000 the quote-unquote aliens. You never know how they're going to flip it. And just to show you that the word time in Hebrew gematria equals 144. That's amazing to me.
6 days, 24 hours a day, 6 times 24, 144. God showed us the end from the beginning.